So Sonic Generations is being delisted. Yeah, I figured this was coming. I called it in my previous video. I asked if it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, and now that we know that it's happening now. So I don't really have anything to start this video with. We're just gonna dive right in. It's like, yeah, I know. I didn't trip on a sparkling ice can this time, so I think I'm fine. I did eat a turkey wrap, and it's not settling my stomach that well, so I'll try to get through this one quickly. But yeah, let's just get right into this video by saying that, yeah, I did call it. I pretty much called it in my last video. Sonic Generations is being delisted from digital storefronts. This means both Xbox Live and Steam, which means that the 13 to 12-year-old mod history, whenever the game came out, it was like 12 or 13 years ago, the modding history to this game is just going to completely vanish. Or will it? Yeah, I'm a whole couple days late on this, by the way. I took a new position on my job, and I'm working a bit more hours than I usually would have. So, I haven't really been able to get around to actually making this video. So, on August 9th, Sonic's official Twitter decided to tweet 2 tweets. The first tweet is, "We're excited to share Sonic X Shadow Generations with you this October and see a new generation cherish this game as much as we do. On September 9th, the original Sonic Generations will be removed as a standalone title, but we've heard your feedback and want to help preserve the game." Then they replied to themselves. "Therefore, Sonic Generations will still be available via bundles of other iconic Sonic titles on Steam and Xbox. Existing owners of the title will still be able to download and play as well. Lastly, we are happy to confirm that mods on the Steam version will not be affected." So yeah, they tweeted these in 2 tweets. They probably didn't have enough characters for it or something. I don't know. Like, they're a verified account. They should have enough characters. But, yeah. So, let's talk about the first tweet. Obviously, being that we all knew that this would happen. Anyone saying that they learned from Sonic Origins and that they were going to leave Sonic Generations alone, you're honestly kind of stupid. We knew that this was going to happen, and it was further cemented that this was going to happen when the Xbox 360 Marketplace closed down like a week before this, and people noticed that on the Xbox Series X, Sonic Generations was already delisted from there. But then we got the second tweet to clarify things, saying that Sonic Generations will still be available, although it's only going to be available through bundles on Steam and Xbox. And this is where things get a little dicey, but I'll get into that. As common with delistings in general, you can still download and play the game. Like, you're still able to download it at any time you want. They just don't take the game away from you, and you're still allowed to play it. It's still allowed to verify whatever DRM it needs to verify. Stuff like that. This is common sense at this point. And anyone who doesn't know this, gotta stop living under a rock a little bit. Like, as long as you bought the game, it's still going to be available to play, regardless of delisting. Enough of that. But they ended it off with, "We are happy to confirm that mods on the Steam version will not be affected." And the way they delivered this is kind of weird, and why they would even mention it at all. Because I have now seen people on both Twitter and Reddit sitting there expecting mods to work on the remastered new version of Sonic Generations that is coming out, and that is not how things are going to work. The last line they meant is that they are not going to be doing anything to the old version when they delisted it. It's going to be the same version that it was before it was delisted. So in theory, all your mods should still work, but this just doesn't automatically mean that all the mods are going to work with the new remastered version of the game. Chances are none of the mods are going to work, because I'm not a modder. I don't have much of an idea, but I think this is enough to explain probably why it isn't going to work. Sonic Generations, the original version, is a DirectX 9 game that runs in a 32-bit executable, so when you do your Hedgehog Manager stuff, it installs a D3D9 DIL file, of course. This new version is going to be a DirectX 11 game with a 64-bit executable that is going to be protected with de novo DRM. Chances are that executable change is enough to cause literally all the mods to not work at all anymore, and it would depend on the mod creators to see if they want to put in a time to making their mods compatible with this new version, and it's pretty likely at this point that they're not going to do that, because you can just go back and play the old version that is going to be more mod friendly anyways, because it's not protected by de novo DRM. But let's get into the bundle situation now. The whole mod thing not working, I only know so much. Like, I'm not a person who mods these games, but I do know that changing the executable is probably enough to cause things not to work anymore. So, now we will dive into the bundle situation. So, there was plenty of outrage, and admittedly so, when they announced this, because the only bundle available for Sonic games that were available on Steam, at the time that they tweeted this, by the way, was the Sonic the Hedgehog Ultimate Bundle, which cost... oh boy. That's a lot of money. $210 just to access the original version of Sonic Generations? What the hell, Sega? Ain't that pretty greedy? Except, not really, because a lot of people took this at face value and kind of forgot how Steam bundles work. So, when I am signed in onto Steam, signed into my Steam client, and I go to this Sonic the Hedgehog Ultimate Bundle, you'll notice that it's a much lower price than $210. In fact, it's only $14. Huh. Why do me, a fucking nobody with only 1,000 subscribers on Twitter, who uses the name Jazzy despite being a dude, would get a huge discount on this bundle? Well, because on Steam, when you buy a bundle, you don't have to pay for the games that you already own in said bundle. Considering I have pretty much every Sonic release available in this bundle, outside of the 3 games that run in the garbage Sega Genesis emulator, I would only have to pay for those games when I buy the bundle, and since it's in a bundle, you get a little bit of a discount versus buying them all individually, but blah blah blah. So in reality, if you have a new Sonic fan who gets into the series after the release of Sonic X Shadow, they're probably going to be getting into the series, buying the games on PC. They're probably already going to be having quite a bulk of these games. So in theory, they aren't going to have to pay much for this bundle to get that old PC version of Generations. But that's not all. They recently posted a delisting FAQ that you can find on the Steam page for Sonic Generations when you access it in your library to go to play the game. That'll give you a little bit more information about what the hell is really going on. So it goes over the typical stuff that we already covered. You know, the original version's leaving stores on September 9th. You'll still be able to buy it via bundles. You'll still be able to play the game and your mods will work, no problems whatsoever. Which I praise Sega for recognizing mods in the first place and being like, yeah, we're going to ensure that you're going to be able to still play with your mods and stuff. Versus other companies like Rockstar Games, who just runs and DMCA claims all the mods because the definitive editions were rotten garbage. At least Sega isn't like that, at least not yet. But they also included in here, which I really wish they added a third tweet that mentioned this, so people didn't get so angry, because it's like you would have avoided part of the outrage by mentioning this on Twitter, where everyone would have seen it, is that there will be a new bundle coming out called Sonic the Hedgehog Legacy Bundle that will include the original Generations alongside some other games. Now, I'm a little bit mixed on how they're handling this. I don't like how after September 9th that you're going to have to buy a whole bunch of not related games at all to get a hold of the original version of Sonic Generations that's going to be compatible with all the mods that people are going to be talking about. Honestly, the mods are the only reason people talk about Gen still. But on the other hand, I prefer this option over them just nuking the game entirely and people having to resort to piracy to get a hold of the old version. And this bundle is going to be $60, which is kind of outrageous if you ask me. But it will include games like Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic 4, both of them, and for some reason 3D Blast and Spinball. Like, come on, you could have at least put like Sega Racing in there, or Transformed as well, or something. But I guess that would drive the price of the bundle up. But most Sonic fans, honestly, even ones who are new and future fans, are probably going to have these adventure games and stuff anyways, so it's very likely that this bundle will be reduced to a more affordable price for the people who are still going to be buying this bundle simply to get a hold of the old version of Sonic Generations. And that, at the end of the day, the whole bundle situation makes it to where I'm not as pissed off as I would have been if they would just nuke it entirely like they did with the original classic games when Sonic Origins came out. Don't get me wrong, this isn't the best solution at all. The best solution is obviously just fucking leaving the game alone and not doing anything with it and just having both versions exist on the same storefront. But at the same time, I guess it kind of makes sense on Sega's end not wanting to keep around a version of the game that can barely boot up on a modern computer anyways, yet they also sell Sonic Adventure 2 and Transformed, which also don't boot up on modern computer. Blah. Honestly, it's just a mess. It's just a complete mess. But at the end of the day, I'm just conflicted on it, honestly, for the reasons I stated above. I just would have preferred if they did nothing to this game at all, so they could avoid all the confusion that they have just caused by announcing all these stupid bundles and shit. But, and people really, mainly console gamers who have no idea what the fuck Steam is, tend to have a problem with figuring out how bundles on Steam works, because it's not like bundles on console where you have to buy the product that you already have. On Steam, you don't have to do that. So, there you go. But yeah, it's like all of it could have been avoided. I wouldn't have even had to waste time to make this video anyways if they had just left the fucking game alone. That's really going to do it for this video. I was hoping the next set of Sonic X Shadow news I would be able to cover wouldn't be the original version getting nuked off storefronts, but nah, I guess shitty shit just happens sometimes. Thankfully, it's not a full delisting. It's only a partial one. I'm not super angry about it. I'm actually fine with this solution. I just would have preferred them leaving it alone. Anyways, see you guys later. Goodbye.